Ever tried reading while jogging, cooking, or even juggling flaming torches? Yeah, it doesn't end well. But with audiobooks.com, you can conquer books without the circus act. Dive into over 450,000 titles, including more than 10,000 free ones. Get hooked on a bestseller, find your next obsession, or finally read that classic you've been avoiding since high school. And here's the inside scoop. Sign up today for a free 30-day trial and snag your first 3 audiobooks on the house. Sign up for your free trial at audiobooks.com/podcastfree today. That's audiobooks.com/podcastfree.
Okay, this is a 30-second commercial, and I'm going to throw a lot of numbers at you, but please stay with me. In just 15 minutes, you could save 15% or more on car insurance. This company has been offering great rates and great service for over 75 years, and anytime you need help, you can speak to one of their trained specialists 24/7. That company is Geico. Go to geico.com today. Sorry for all the numbers, and in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm out of time.
Now, Podcast One brings you Spike's Car Radio. A downloadable cars and coffee, hosted by writer, comedian, and automotive enthusiast, Spike Ferriston. Now, here's Spike.
And here we go. Welcome to Spike's Comedy Radio. That's right. We're talking about comedy this morning with one of the funniest comedians, Tom Papa. Hi, Tom.
Hey, not cars.
Not cars. We could talk about cars if you want.
Comedy. Let's do comedy.
You're one of the most accomplished stand-ups out there now.
Yeah.
I think I was introduced to you. You're frequently working with Mr. Seinfeld.
Yes. My mentor.
You have fantastic wife material. That's what first bonded me to your act. Was your wife observational material.
We were probably going through it at the same time.
Well, we're still going through it.
Yeah, but we were probably both at the same angst level.
It was it was a specific reference that the wife's, and I'm not going to remember it right, but I think it was your wife's pillow and her drooling, and it looked like a bandage from the Civil War.
Yeah,
is that
the
it?
Civil War bandage. You ever look at your favorite pillow?
That's it.
Looks like a bandage from the Civil War.
Isn't it funny how one joke can just make you just love somebody's comedy?
Yeah, I have a great story about that joke.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
When I was, I got called up by Clint Eastwood's wife to go do a charity thing up in Carmel, wherever they are, right?
Right.
Mission Ranch.
How does she just call you? Do you
So
know
I
Clint
did-
Eastwood's wife?
Well, there's, I
And which wife?
I did, and most recent ex-wife.
Okay.
I did a gig in Sun Valley. Clint was there. He really liked me. And then from that, I did 2 or 3 shows for Clint and his charities and different things.
Now, how does Clint Eastwood let you know that he likes you? Does he walk up to you and go, I like you?
I like you. Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't remember how, but yeah, there's so many stories to it. But the first one was Clint. I fly up with Clint and my friend Pete in a G4 from Burbank to Carmel.
Wow.
Yeah. And to go do like a golf thing. And he has his golf club. He has his own country club golf thing, Tehama. And
oh, yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
There was a big Porsche event there last year.
Oh, okay.
That's
Beautiful.
quite a place.
Quite a place.
Yeah.
And there's
now he owns that place?
He owns that place. And he built it. He owns it. And there's only like 4 rooms like in the country. Like it's not really a hotel.
No, I thought it had houses on it. We were so confused about where this place came from.
Some of it is like townhouse stuff.
Right,
and then there's the country club.
Yeah.
And there's like 3 guest rooms. And my friend Pete and I got to stay in them.
No way.
Yeah. What was really funny on that G4 ride up, and it's me, my goofball buddy Pete, who could not be more liberal, Jewish from Boston, next to me, sitting across from Clint Eastwood.
Right.
No one's bigger. And Clint, we're just eating like they have full. This is like a 20-second flight, and we have a full waitress and a full meal, and Clint's hanging with us, and Clint is just going off on politics pretty much.
Oh no!
About very conservative This is like 10 years ago.
Right.
And this is before The Chair. This is before it all. But he was very conservative about the Middle East and stuff. And I'm sitting with my Jewish liberal friend who I know everything Clint is saying he is opposed to in any other setting.
Yep.
He would have said, "Screw you, you're crazy."
But G4.
By the end of the flight, my friend Pete was basically telling Clint we should carpet bomb the Middle East. He was totally
is so awesome, and that salad was so fantastic.
And you're Clint Eastwood.
And you're Clint Eastwood.
Yes, sir.
That is so great.
Yeah.
Were you nervous? I mean, had you met Clint Eastwood before?
No. I think I might have met him at that initial gig.
I've been watching a lot of old Clint Eastwood. I mean, it's some of these old Dirty Harry movies and Fistful of Dollars. They're just, and he's so great.
So great.
What an epically, good-looking just man. The man everybody wanted to be when you were growing up. You're like, I want to be that guy.
When you see pictures of him in L.A., like those, on Instagram, you always see like these shots of him just like hanging out like as a young man, starting to get work. It's like, oh my God, of course he's a movie star. He should be the only movie star.
We were never that guy.
Yeah, never. I know.
I'm
thinking of modeling myself now. I'm like, I really am into this concept of, and I'll come back to the Clint story because that's not the story, but I really believe when you look at show business, there's always the types. And the types are always recirculated because they play these certain characters, and they're always used over and over again. Like they had Paul Newman, and we have Matthew McConaughey. They had John Belushi, and we have and then Chris Farley, and you have these types. And I'm like, what type am I? And I used to think Phil Hartman. I was like a Phil Hartman type.
I can see that
a little bit.
Yeah.
And now that I've got glasses and a little older, I'm thinking of going the Michael Caine route.
No. Jack Benny. I've always thought of you as a kind of a Jack Benny.
A Jack Benny.
Yeah.
So how do I work that type in 2019?
What do you mean?
Do I have to wear suits?
No, I think just keep being yourself.
Just keep and then
you've never gotten Jack Benny before?
I do get
a picture of Jack Benny.
I get Jack Benny a lot. People and I love Jack Benny.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, what's wrong with that? Who doesn't want to be Jack Benny?
I want to be Jack Benny, but I don't know how. All right. So I'm just doing it already is what you're saying? I don't need an outfit?
You're already doing it. You don't need to do anything. I'm looking at some of Clint Eastwood's cars here. There's a really bad video on YouTube. He had an Austin Healey 3000 here, but that's a kind of a who cares car.
Yeah.
I know there's some. Here's a beautiful picture of him in an old MG. Look at that.
Wow.
Oh, no, maybe that's an Austin Healey again. But look, remember that bathing suit that kind of came up over your belly button?
Oh,
there?
Yeah. It's just like a diaper, man diaper.
Yeah. He's making it look all right.
Yeah.
He's, I don't think he's really known for his cars. Oh, he had a Ferrari 365 GTB, which is a beautiful car. Yeah, he liked Ferraris, and he's got a Jaguar.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, here's the shot that I was thinking of. Okay, right here. Look at that. Oh, shoot. Okay, that's not it. Then they cut to a Chevy Blazer. This one right here.
What do you got?
Right?
Oh, yeah,
that's the guy you want to be.
Yeah,
him
look at that
out,
full head of hair.
Back. He always seems to be without his shirt.
No shirt on. And no working out.
And no working out.
Not back then. That's just who he was.
I was gonna. What's the monkey movie he made? Every Which Way But Loose?
Yeah.
I watched the trailer for that on iTunes. You should check it out. It's hilarious.
There's like three of them, right?
But the first one, they have the original trailer on iTunes. You know how they don't have new trailers for old movies?
Right,
so they have to put the old one up, and it's really great. And it starts over black with two people, a husband and a wife, talking. Going, what should we watch tonight? Well, there's a new Clint Eastwood movie. Well, I like Clint Eastwood. What does he do? And he does this. And he's there with he's got a beautiful girl. But guess what? He's also got a monkey. A monkey. And then it shows shots of him with the monkey. And the whole time I think this is probably the movie that ruined Clint. Like
took him out of the game for a while.
I remember this movie being okay when I was a kid, but now hearing this trailer,
it was really popular. That movie.
It seems like a real low point.
Well, artistically maybe.
Yeah.
But you know what? I actually watched it or parts of it recently. It's still cool watching Clint.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of goofy, but his sidekick is I forget his name, another character actor, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of lame, but he punches some people in the face. Right turn, Clyde, and the monkey would punch people in the face.
Wow, he's actually got a lot of cars here. Maybe I'm wrong about this.
Yeah, you don't
He's
know.
got a fistful of Clint Eastwood, a fistful of muscle cars.
Yeah.
Wow, this is good. Maybe we should get Clint Eastwood on the podcast. Maybe this is
this is the problem.
This is where this is headed. Is
let
he
me
dead?
jump. Let me
Did
jump
he-
over
did he
the.
die?
Let me
All
jump
right, go
over the
ahead.
story about the pillow, and go to the end, which is he's divorced now,
Yes.
and his wife was, of course, my contact,
Yes.
and now she's gone.
Oh.
And Clint and I haven't spoken. And
Well, I can get in touch with Clint.
I gotta find my way back.
Well, we can do that. That's Will behind the glass there. We have a whole booking department.
really?
Here. Yeah. We can reach out to anybody.
I want if he can get his number, because it was great. Because then after we had this relationship, I had this epic meal with him.
Wow.
I had this epic meal where we were at the country club at night and just getting drunk on wine, beautiful wine. It was him and his current wife, who's now his ex-wife, and the one before that. So
Both of them.
2 wives, yeah, and a couple kids. And Clint we're all just drinking and having a great time. And he does Droopy Dog. He does a Droopy Dog impression.
He does?
Yeah, and he wants to make me laugh as the comedian, and he's doing Droopy Dog. He's hammered and doing Droopy Dog. I'm like, what is happening right now? Clint Eastwood is doing Droopy Dog.
That's amazing.
So here's the story, so I can just get it out of
Hold
my
on.
head.
I want to hear Droopy now. Normally don't do this, but
Yeah.
oh, this is Droopy
Dog.
Oh, that's. So that's what
Yeah,
That's what
I'm
Clint
you
Eastwood's
here.
doing.
Like the most downtrodden cartoon character of all
That's
time.
fantastic.
And Clint, the man, is like doing it. So here's the story. So I do the gig at Mission Ranch, and there's no there's no food.
Yeah.
There's no food. Everything's all closed up. I'm done with my show, and I'm saying goodnight to Clint. And I said, there's like this area, and then there's the Mission Ranch like restaurant bar thing where he played piano in his. And I said, well, is there any place I can get food? He's like, well, you can get food over there at the restaurant. I said, well, they tell me it's closed. He's like, I think they'll open it for me. And Clint Eastwood and I are walking across a gravel driveway, crunch, 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 in the dark, just me and Clint, like a Western. And Clint says to me, I love that joke you do about the Civil War bandage. Your pillow looking like the silver. I think about it every night I go to sleep.
Wow. Wow. Me too, Clint. Me too. We have that in common.
I was like, that is why you write jokes and get into comedy. Just for that moment, to have Clint Eastwood say he thinks of your joke when he goes to sleep at night.
Yeah. And Droopy Dog. No, because we're looking over at that creature next to us.
Yeah.
Going, how did this happen?
Yeah. So that was my Clint
Wow,
story.
that's great.
Yeah. So
That's
yeah.
amazing.
So that was I bonded with. When I'm with Clint, I tell the story about how you like that joke.
Really? No, he wouldn't even know that. But whoever knows Clint, tell him we want him on Spike's Car Radio, because I think there's some car stories there.
I want to get into one of his movies before he stops making them.
Yeah.
And I got really close to doing one, and it didn't work out. But I felt like, I'm in his orbit. I can make this one happen. My being around him and stuff, I think I can get in without being an amazing actor.
Wow.
And I haven't gone out for the last couple.
How old is he now? 108.
108.
Very well.
84.
How many breaks am I taking in this podcast today? Just one? Oh, good. So we can keep going. Well, I wanted to ask you about movies because you. How do you know Steven Soderbergh? You were in The Informant alongside Matt Damon.
Yeah.
You were also in Behind the Candelabra on the HBO show. That was the HBO.
Behind the Candelabra, Liberace.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And both times I did not know you were in these. I just am
Yeah.
watching this and I go, oh my God, there's Tom Papa with this incredible cast.
Crazy.
The connective tissue is Steven Soderbergh. Do you
Yeah.
know Steven Soderbergh?
Yeah, I do. I know him really well. But
And how do you get to know Steven Soderbergh?
I think maybe one of the only times in my career where I went on an audition and got it for The Informant.
Wow.
Which never happens to me. I'm not that great of an auditioner. I don't go out on a lot because I just don't.
Right.
I don't like. like to write and create stuff. I don't really go. I don't want to.
It's horrible.
Be one of the it's a horrible experience, and that was one of the only ones. I got it. I got The Informant.
Wow.
And then was on the cast and met Steven out in Decatur, Illinois. It was where we shot that movie.
Do you have any formal acting training whatsoever?
Yeah, I act. Yeah, I can act. I'm a good actor. You know, I know how to act. I went to, when I was in school. Before I was a comedian, I was acting. I was in all the plays through college. I was in a business college, but I spent all my time in the theater and just always wanted to do it, and just studied there and did it. And then a little bit in New York when I was out of school. And I can act. I know how to act, and I'm confident. All you have to do is be confident and just.
Really, I can't even come close to doing it.
You could do it.
I can't get by the audition. It's awful.
The audition. That's the thing.
I've
but
always
you could
looked
act.
for this.
If I put you in a movie, just to be yourself,
I could do that.
You could do that.
Absolutely.
Because that's the thing that gets in everyone's way. Is they just. I mean, look. This is like the lowest bar of being able to act. Is just get out there and don't make an ass of yourself and don't look like you're acting. Just be natural, listen, and respond.
Here's the problem, and I hear Howard Stern talk about this all the time. It's the memorization of lines that switches a switch in my brain.
Right.
Like, I was in sketches a lot on my late night show.
Right.
But I would always write them with the writers, and I'd be like, hey, I think I can do this. And half the time I'd say, I want to improvise most of this.
Yeah.
And then I'll edit it, and hopefully it'll be funny in that way.
Right.
It's funny, because driving here, the SAG Awards were last night. So I've been thinking about acting again, going, is there a way for me into this that I can, that'll make sense, that's not going to ruin me?
Right.
And someone was giving a speech about, acting is just two eyes staring into two other eyes.
Right.
And I've noticed, and if you watch television, like I do, or a movie, actors are always staring unnaturally into each other's eyes.
That's true.
Nobody makes eye contact like that in real life.
Right.
But as an actor, and I wondered, is that the way into acting if you just look into someone's eyes?
Well, it's about responding.
And respond
It's about
back.
being open and being natural and responding.
Right.
Listening, really listening, and then... Because then you'll react and things will happen.
So you react.
Now there's and this is like the basic. You know what I mean?
Right. So that's
like
I've just learned something right there.
Totally.
Look into the person's eyes, which could be why it's so hard in the audition, because the person reading with you is not looking into your eyes. They're reading the script, right?
You know, it's a good thing to read if you want to just kind of like screw around for like acting cheats.
Yeah.
For being on film and television is Michael Caine's book on acting. Really, he's like very much like.
Give us some tips in his voice.
He gets through like the bullshit. Is like, I am Michael Caine. When the camera is coming, make sure you look over the shoulder. Everyone says look in their eyes. I look over the shoulder because I'll look better on the camera. Like he does shit like that. He's got all the little tricks and stuff.
Right,
That's a good one. But that being said,
I want to know
when
how
people are really good at, like when Daniel Day-Lewis or like those people, they are doing something deeper than just trying not to look like an asshole on stage.
I'm tired of him quitting acting. Daniel Day-Lewis, he's great.
So
what is
good.
That Butcher of New York? What is that?
Oh, the Gangs of New York.
Gangs of New York. I can watch all day long, over and over again.
And what's so weird about that one, the sets are very like fake.
Yeah,
there's a lot of it that's but you don't care.
I don't care.
Just want to sit with him. There will be blood.
There will be blood.
Oh my God, I'm an aisle man.
Yeah. Well, why does he have to announce his retirement? What is that all about? Who does that?
Makes you wanted more.
Really?
It's the mystique, right?
I don't know.
I'm cobbling shoes in Italy for the next 2 years. Everyone's like, "Whoa, what's that guy? What's he about?" You go into a meeting and you say, "We got Daniel Day-Lewis to stop making shoes, and he's going to do this film." All right, we'll finance that.
Did you ever talk to Jerry about actors? You're very close with Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
And
nothing makes you feel better.
He was like, "There's nothing there, Spike." We were talking about Daniel Day-Lewis once, and I was saying the same things I'm saying to you. There's nothing there when he doesn't have the lines. It's just gas and air and a robe. When you put a script in front of him, he's something, but you would talk to him like this is nothing. You'd hate it. I think if you met him, no.
And yet, he tells me he watches scenes from There Will Be Blood, like
over and over
and over again.
Yeah, no, he's just trying.
He
to
goes
be funny
back and forth
all the time.
But he also doesn't have much respect for actors because they don't write.
Because what?
Because they don't write. Because you're just showing up with someone else's
some
lines.
that do, right? No, yeah.
No, but I think that's why Jerry's kind of like, yeah, what you do is cute, but I write this and then perform it. Nothing makes you feel better about being a comedian than talking to Jerry.
I noticed, I was looking at your book that you put out earlier this year.
Yes.
That was right here. Your dad stole my rake and other family dilemmas.
Yes.
And Jerry wrote the foreword.
Yes.
Which is very gracious of him.
It was really nice of him. And it was
made
hilarious.
me laugh. I have, it says here, I've been a close friend of Tom Papa for 17 years. I know you want me to read this in Jerry's voice. But I want to read this just because the words are funny. His lack of ability to perceive even the most basic principles of human functioning have made him invaluable asset to me as a friend and a colleague. Because he sees nothing, knows nothing, and understands nothing. I always seek his advice for the most complex matters. Furthermore, I would definitely recommend whatever the name of this book is. Because I know it comes from a place of pure nonsense without any knowledge of anything. He really is one of my favorite people. And then it says Jerry Seinfeld, author of Sign Language, which I'm not even sure what that is.
That was his book. That was remember that book? It was like basically his
stand-up.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I did. I read that to write my thing for his show.
Right.
Way back in the day. Yeah, it was a collection of his jokes just to get his rhythm.
Yeah.
But what is this book about? Tell me about your book.
My book is it's a book of essays about family life. Basically, everyone in your family, cousins, brothers, sisters, parents. I break it all down by every member of the family and write funny essays on all of them. And it was good. It was a relief. It was like really well received and it sold well. And but it was terrifying because you write stand up and go up and perform it, and nobody really sees it until it's really great. And a book, it's like, I think it's great, and then you throw it out there.
Yeah, you don't know.
And it's just out in the world, and that people liked it. It wasn't even like happiness. It was just relief. But
don't you find
I
that
wrote something.
There's suddenly a lot of doors open press-wise for you that weren't open before?
Yeah, it's a great world. It's such a cool... Gaffigan actually told me to do it.
Right.
And he said, I think you'd be good for it. People who read are like a people who would like your comedy. It's not really people like making out and getting loaded.
Right.
It was really great. And it was a combination of doing the book, and I'm now the head writer for Live From Here, which is the new Prairie Home Companion.
Yeah.
So it's like this book world and this NPR world. They're kind of similar crossover people. So it has kind of opened up my audience and the press for it and all that stuff.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was good.
All right, well, let's take a break, and we're going to talk more.
You have advertisers?
To Tom Papa. I seem to.
Wow.
Lots of them.
Really?
Yeah. They like the car thing. They like cars. Do you like cars? We'll talk about cars to Tom Papa.
I have a car.
Oh, you've got a car. Good. We'll hear about that when we come back with more Spike's Car Radio. 60 seconds. That's exactly how long this commercial lasts. You know what else you can do in about a minute? Get an offer with your car from TrueCar. That's right. In the amount of time it takes to floss your teeth, pet your dog, do a few sit-ups, just listen to my voice, you can get a true cash offer. Best of all, you can do it from your smartphone or at home. Just go to TrueCar and simply enter your license plate number and watch how your car's details pop up. Answer a few questions and you'll get an accurate true cash offer from local TrueCar certified dealer. It's that easy. After that, you can bring your car in and they'll check it out with you together, the two of you. You can even hug if you want. You can ask questions, get the answers you need, so there's no surprises, and simply leave your check or trade in your car for a new ride. So when you're ready to experience a new, better way to sell or trade in your car, check out TrueCar today.
You're listening to Spike's Car Radio.
We're back with Tom Papa, host.
Dun 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 dun.
We can play some music under that, make that exciting right now. Tom Papa, host of Come to Papa, host of this new NPR thing, Live From Here. I noticed it, and I think it's going to go by because we're posting the show next week, but you're here in L.A. doing what's formerly known as a Prairie Home Companion. You're the head writer, and you also appear in it.
Yeah, I do a monologue each week.
So what is that? This is these are really interesting to me because they're old timey kind of live shows. That, Go ahead.
I did. Prairie Home Companion was Garrison Keillor's thing,
right,
and he did it for 35, 40 years.
Yep.
And
then he got handsy. They got rid of him.
Well, he retired first. To his credit, he retired first. Then he got handsy, and or they said he got.
They
handsy.
said he got handsy,
and
that's a nicer way of putting it. He got handsy and he got fired.
Yeah.
Right? You can recover from that.
Well, he retired, and then they took the name of the thing away. Basically,
right.
Yes. But I loved it. I always loved Prairie Home Companion, and not even in like just it was one of those things that you ran into on NPR, and it was just a cool sense of place. And he would do the news from Lake Wobegon, and it was just this very cool, not hilarious, but really relaxing, humorous slice of Americana. And I always loved it. And I read all of his books, and I was a huge fan. And when I do my Come to Papa, it's a podcast, but it started as a SiriusXM radio show, which I still do, that version of it. And I said, what would Prairie Home Companion, this is 8 years ago, what would Prairie Home Companion be like in the hands of comedians? What if you really tried to lean in and make it really funny?
Right.
And so I started just writing my version of Prairie Home. So I was writing sketches and putting comedians in them, and we'd have music, and just doing like a funny, not too precious. We wouldn't over-rehearse. We just kind of fly by the seat of our pants. But I've been cranking out radio sketches for all this time. So when he retired, Chris Thiele took it over, who's a musician, and he's the host. Garrison dubbed him to be the host. And Chris isn't a spoken word guy, so they needed somebody to do that. And I literally, when they came to me through Flanny at Largo, he knew me, and he knew, because I was doing my show at Largo, Chris would come in and do his music, and he said, you guys got to hook up because Tom's a perfect fit for what you need at Prairie Home.
Wow.
And it was. I mean, I'm like, I said in the interview, sometimes most times you walk in to get a job or interview people, and you're like, humble.
Yeah.
Right. I was like,
yeah.
I am the one person that should do this job. I love the show.
It's great when that happens.
And I've been practicing this skill for 8 years.
Wow.
Let's go. So we have. I took it over, and it's great. And I made the show a lot funnier. There's, I have some writers, and they send me stuff, and then we rework it and put it in the show.
And is Sarah Silverman in it?
No, Sarah's going to be the guest comedian.
Oh, I see.
In this episode, we put a comic in each show,
and it's every week.
It's every week,
and
pretty much.
We
have breaks. It's on NPR, so in LA, it's on KPCC,
right.
And but wherever livefromhere.org, you can go and listen to the old episodes, and wherever your NPR thing is,
right.
They're playing it. And my cool thing, the main thing that I love, is I do a monologue each week. I write a 5, 6, 7 minute monologue called Out in America, where I shine a light on all the good people in America. And as a comedian, I'll do a report from Kansas City. And some people I do meet, and I do pick stuff up. Some I make up. But I do a monologue, a very funny thing each week from Out in the Thing.
Wow.
So to stand in St. Paul on the stage where Garrison Keillor was doing the news from Lake Wobegon, and I'm doing a monologue, my own, childish version of it, was a trip. Though it was like, look, how did we get here? Because I write the hell out of it. It's very writing intensive.
And you're traveling every week for it, or is this incidental to stand up? How does it work?
Yeah, the first season I was doing it. I would try and get to the show whenever I could, and when I couldn't get to the show, I would go to a public radio station and call in my monologue.
I get it. Okay.
But now it's kind of weird to have this big live show and this one call-in segment. So now I'm just do it when I can be there. And like now for the second half of the season, I'll be at like 10 or 11 of the 17.
Wow.
And it's a little bit of a bear travel-wise because,
right.
I set my stand-up tour so I can see my family.
Right.
And now I'm filling in those gaps with, when I'm not doing stand-up, I'm going to do the radio show.
But NPR sends the G4 like Clint, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's first class all the way. Quick in.
I'm only in it for the money.
Right.
If you want money, go to public radio.
If you haven't seen that NPR jet
yeah.
at Van Nuys,
yeah.
it's impressive. It's an impressive joke.
But what's really funny, and you'll appreciate this, I think, is because you write and stuff. I write this monologue. It's well received. It's a funny thing. It kills when I'm there. It's like I really truly work from Monday till Saturday on it. You could just peel away and write and write and rewrite. But the funny, unexpected consequence of doing this monologue on NPR, where you can hear it in the car with your family and not have to worry about turning the dial, is I have all these fans showing up at my shows who are 10 to 15 years old. These young kids are coming up and they love it.
Yes.
It's such a fun... I'm writing... This is for adults. A lot of times it's me going to a town and getting drunk and ending up with these people from Kansas City, and
That's
funny
hilarious.
things happen to me.
What kind of jokes do they like?
There's this...
I have a 10-year-old. It's all Fortnite and guns.
Yeah. I'm writing... This is like what I consider pretty thoughtful, insightful stuff about grown-ups that I'm meeting.
I see.
But there's a device in the monologue that I say, have you ever done a podcast in a studio that you did a podcast in before and you realized you're talking to a different host? I have. Why is it about podcasts? But that device is like the catchy part of the monologue. Have you ever sat down and do a car show and only talked about comedians? I have. There's something funny about that device. I think that clicks for kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's such a funny thing. I was in
But your material has never been, it's always been kind of like Jerry, right?
It's clean.
It's clean.
It's clean.
It's observational. It's definitely more skewered towards family and wife and the rest of it.
Yeah, and it's observational, and it's it's just there's nothing offensive. So if kids want to show up and listen to it, they're not going to.
You were on Conan a while back, but there was a piece of comedy I always meant to ask you about, which was The Girlfriend. Do you remember this? The advice that after many years of marriage, I think it should be okay to get a girlfriend?
Yeah, it's time for a girlfriend.
How does that work?
Yeah, it's time for a girl. I've been married and it works. It's great. It's time for a girlfriend. No, it is. It's time for a girlfriend. It was
not because of selfish needs.
Yeah, it's
that she should get.
No,
I'm
not gonna be sneaky about it. I'm gonna tell my wife.
Yes.
I'm gonna tell her flat out. Look, I found a girl. She's young and she's dumb. She's just what we need. She hasn't heard any of my stories. She thinks I'm hilarious. She wants to fool around with me all the time. Don't think of her as my girlfriend. Think of her as your assistant. It seems like everybody wins in that scenario.
That is the greatest pitch. Yeah. I am going to try and use this one this time on her. The other one just gets me right to divorce really quickly and some side eye. Just say, go ahead and try it, Spike. Just try it.
Just try it. It seems like at this point, my wife would be relieved that I was spending time with someone else.
They're funny. They're not.
No, they're not.
The humiliation seems to get in the way of that. The humiliation with the other friends.
What if I got somebody who was empirically more hideous than you? So, like, it's not like you're comparing yourself to some young college girl who's really hot. Like, what if it's older than you, heavier than you?
That's equally as bad. That's equally as bad.
It's equally as bad.
Yeah, because then they look at you and they go, oof, this is the guy? This is what? This is who he's with? I mean, that's a constant, right?
Yeah.
You've had that before, right? You date a girl, you break up with her, and she dates some weird guy, and you go, ooh, well, I'm glad I let that go.
Right.
Because...
And how close am I to that guy?
Yeah, well, no, I don't go there. I'm in some fantasy of myself all the time going, whoa, but you're right, I'm probably exactly the same as
I was trying to
guy.
think about a joke. It ain't just recently, and I don't think I even tried it as a joke, but I was at a Starbucks, and there was a young girl barista who's so cute, New York-style Starbucks, cool, and I'm, like, flirty at the thing, like, thinking she sees me, like, as somebody, like, as a sexual being, as something. And then I'm, like, I'm at that little half-shelf bar thing with my coffee, and I catch myself in the mirror with my wool hat that looks like a gnome fallen hat, and I'm like kind of unshaven, and my teeth are weird, and I'm like, this is the male ego.
Yeah.
Like that guy thinks that 22-year-old girl
Yes.
is somewhat interested in him.
Well, in Hollywood, yes, it can happen, but it takes a profound amount of money.
Money or roles, like
Or
if you're a director.
Yeah. No, I won't get into some of the theories that my co-host who's not here has
Oh, really?
about women that we were discussing just before the show, weren't we, Will?
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's an animal. He's an absolute animal. No, I'm still trying to figure out how to. I can't for the life of me listen to my wife. I just can't. I can't listen to it.
Listen to what?
Listen
Any
to her
talking?
talk. Yeah, listen to, and I know I'm supposed to be a good listener. I know all the rules at this point.
Right.
I know all the rules, but I can only do them about 5% of the time. Like I know when she comes to me and there's a big problem there, I know what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
Don't solve the problem.
Right.
Validate the emotions.
Just listen to it.
I can't. I'm a producer. I'm a writer. I'm about solving problems, and I have an override that just goes, look, hey, just do X, Y, and Z, okay?
Well, then tell her to stop it.
Yeah, just have and then I'm in trouble.
I know.
Though lately I've solved a couple. My wife is a political person.
Yeah.
And is dealing with organizations now, and she's at the head of one organization. I've helped her with some of the management of how to manage people.
Right.
And a couple times, to her credit, she's been able to get past the "you're not validating my emotions." You go, hey, what you told me really worked. Thank you.
Well, that's a practical, work-oriented problem. It's like when it's an emotional
Yes.
problem with the family or something like that. That what drives me crazy too is that you have solutions. You can fix this problem,
Yes.
but she would rather just kind of live in that problem and talk about it for the next 2 years.
This is just the way they are.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a project.
There's a show. I don't know if you've ever seen this show, but I'm flipping out over it. High Maintenance on HBO.
Oh, yeah.
And it took, I think they're in their third season,
Uh-huh.
and the New York Times said, if you're not watching, it just
Oh,
took
yeah.
that one little, if you're not watching, and I didn't even get to the this,
Yeah.
and it said New York Times, and I had nothing to do Friday night, and I watched 3 of these things.
Wow.
And they're very moody, like Lower East Side, New York, no money. You don't doubt the characters.
Oh, that's the guy that sells weed?
Sells weed. He
Delivers
drives around on
weed.
his
Yeah,
bike.
that
And
is
it's a really
interesting.
interesting format where the characters are incidental to that guy. And
Yeah.
you might pass them by, or maybe it's the person that lives next door. And there was this really, I'm only a few episodes in, but in the third episode ends related to this conversation where this wife and her husband moved to Brooklyn. They're staying with the wife's dad, and the dad is into these new age daycare parties that start at 4 a.m. that are kind of raves and kind of not. And she's embarrassed, and the dad's smoking weed all the time, and she fights with it. It turns the whole episode is about this big fight they
Yeah.
have. And right at the end, it gets resolved in this very sweet way, and they're texting each other. She lives upstairs, he's downstairs, and he says good night or good morning, and he's eating pizza with some weird hippie girl, and she tucks into bed with her husband and lays down, who's fast asleep, and goes, and this has nothing to do really with the episode at all. She just turns to him and goes, "What if I can't have kids again? What if I can't get pregnant?" And I thought that was the most incredible wife line, that she had just resolved this week-long drama about something else, and then she turned right to the next problem in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I love that part of it.
And had to air the anxiety to the husband, who was fast asleep, and he goes, what?
Yeah, and then she goes off to sleep, and he's up all night.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
I thought that was one of the most incredible moments I'd seen in anything scripted before. It made me
so
laugh out loud.
perfect.
And then I made the mistake of showing that to Erica.
Oh.
Yeah, and she went, what?
I had a joke in my act about a similar thing that my wife, she just never stops talking. She loves to talk. From the moment she gets up until about 3 hours after she falls asleep, she's just still talking.
What about, because, Jerry said, I don't know if I was talking to you or was talking to Jerry about I think you and I had dinner, and we
Uh-huh.
were talking about Bob Einstein, right?
Right.
And we were saying, had you talked to Jerry about it? And
Yeah.
we neither of us were sure Jerry wanted to have that conversation,
Right.
or maybe he had cycled through it. And then when I mentioned it to Jerry, he said he had spoken to you, but you so quickly got on to wife comedy that they never got to Bob Einstein.
Oh, that's funny.
And he goes, he's just such a fountain of wisdom and funny. Are you guys resolving wife issues in those situations, or are you just making jokes about wives?
We are working through it. We do air it out.
You air it out and try to understand.
If I have any kind of, and I think for him too, I think whenever I have like some moments where it's really getting to me, like where I'm really going through it,
right.
I know that that's the guy I should call.
Right. No, he's got incredible wife wisdom. He does Jedi-like skills. Well, what can you share with us that you've what wife rules that can help us? Our listeners are about 80% men right now.
Yeah.
And I would say a big portion of those are like me and Zuckerman. We want to make this thing work.
Yeah.
We like it. It's just hard and it seems to get harder.
The biggest thing, really, the biggest solve has been taking your happiness out of the equation of this relationship. Is really such wisdom. Really. Like before, I've heard that
before.
What about me?
Yeah.
Like I would think, what about me? What about my needs? Why are you in this? And why you act like that? And why do this? Yeah. What about me? No. Stop it. You're in this marriage. You get a lot of great things from it.
Mm-hmm.
But that happiness of like what you want to do every day is not one of them.
Jerry has said that to me.
You go find that stuff out on your own, which as a guy, you can go do. Which very easy for us to meet up with another buddy and go for a ride or do whatever.
Yes.
They don't have that.
Right.
What they have is the house and all that stuff. And while you're in that house, it's about her happiness. And not like, happy wife, happy life kind of a thing, but kind of. She's going to get angry. She's going to say things that are mean to you. She's going to do stuff. Absorb it and let it roll, and don't take it so seriously.
Because that's what she's supposed to do.
Yes.
Jerry attacks me with this all the time.
Yeah.
He goes, what? Spike, just stop right there. Just stop. You're not supposed to be happy. Of course.
Yeah.
You're a fool.
And it's true.
And it's true.
And it's
so
not it's not like you're in misery. It's
Right.
just you're not being like a needy teenage
But
kid.
this circles back to the car thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the moment where we're in the car, we're driving, or we hang out, or you're hanging out with Jerry. That's where we're truly supposed to be happy. It's our guy friends.
That's where, right.
That's where the happiness comes from. Your kids.
There's
deliver
another
happiness
level
and
of joy you
satisfaction.
get from the marriage. There
Yes.
is. There's that stuff that you don't even think about that's just kind of like this one woman, like you don't have to flirt with a girl at Starbucks.
Right. It takes you out of the game.
And she loves you for
Like a
reasons that
Mercedes
other
diesel.
people wouldn't. And
Yes.
It's all done, and the kids and this life and your families. It's deep.
Yes.
It's stuff.
And you're going to die first, and there'll probably be 2 years of being infirmed and on a
Yeah.
couch with tubes.
Right.
And she will take care of you.
She's going to help you waddle into Gelson's when nobody else will. Right. There's all that stuff.
Yes.
But the day-to-day like joy of stuff that I get off of like having a cocktail or talking about cars or that's for when you're with your friends.
That's the guy friend.
That's
or comedy,
yes,
right?
Yes, that's smoking a cigar with your pal.
Yeah. Do you smoke cigars?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Once in a while. I don't, it's amazing. I have this great box in my house
Of
Cubans of Cohibas.
Ah.
And they're lasting because I just with my family there.
Yep.
And it's like girls, and it's like it's just I don't have the opportunity, which is good. I think it puts a governor
you go
on
into
it.
the
I
backyard.
think about it every day.
Do you want to know what I do?
Yes.
This is my plan. Well, I've got a 10 and an 8-year-old, right?
Okay.
So Friday nights and Saturday nights, they have movie night. They get to watch a movie from 7 to 9. It's a perfect time. I right behind the French doors. I have an old teak table out there.
Ooh, nice.
And I put up this computer. I get my little phone out and I light up a Hoyo.
Yeah.
I forget what I'm smoking right now.
Yeah.
Or a Partagas,
Yeah.
number 2, or a Hoyo, number 4, I think they are.
Nice.
And I sit there while they watch their movie. I can kind of look in. Erica's off doing whatever she's doing, and I look for cars, and I read news, and I yell on Twitter.
So
And I
that's
I
great.
turn the lights on in my backyard, and I have my little dog Gopher, who's there, and I have a little pile of treats for him. And like every 5 minutes, I throw him a treat, and he runs into
That's
and
brilliant.
chases it.
I love this.
It's super relaxing and
What's
fun.
great about it?
And I have Boom Chica popcorn on the left side.
What are you drinking?
I drink ginger beers.
Ginger beers.
Or Diet Coke.
So perfect.
Yeah.
The what I love about it is whenever I think about like sneaking out, going out there and smoking during the day, I'm writing. So it's like you can't really write and smoke a cigar.
You can. I've done it. I used to be a cigarette smoker years ago, but you don't want to.
It's cumbersome. You want to kick back.
That's
why I like your computer to go through the stuff.
Here's the problem. You do want to do that, but you then end up tying tobacco to writing. So every time you go, I'm going to write, you go, where's my cigar? Now you're Schwarzenegger. You're smoking 8 cigars a day, and your jaw gets cut off from oral cancer.
No.
This has to be a relaxing time. If I'm going to work, if I'm going to write, I won't do that to myself.
The one interesting thing, though, I don't know how you pulled this off, is if there's movie night in the house.
Yes,
it's very noticed that Dad's out alone in the yard. Why isn't Dad watching the movie with us?
Well, because, 10 and 8 are watching stuff I don't want to watch.
Yeah.
They just did the Hunger Games the other night, which is 2 hours and 20 minutes of pain for me. So when we do classics, the Blues Brothers, I'm in there.
I sat through all of it with them.
You did?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I can't
Moana
do that.
That's tough. Brave and
no, when you get
all of that stuff.
I mean, think about
now it's cool because they're older, but now you want to watch the movie with them.
But if you think about when we were growing up, right?
Yeah.
It's probably 12 movies a year you were watching?
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
These kids have seen everything at this point. Everything. And I have one that doesn't want repeats.
Yeah.
So we're constantly chewing up content, right?
Yeah.
And then I had to make rules in the summertime when there's no school. I'm like, look, if you're watching something during the week, it's got to be on Netflix. I'm paying for this thing.
Right.
And then you get into this genre of shitty like war movies that were made for $1 with, on a phone, and they love it. But I'm just gives me psychic pain.
I know, me too.
Psychic pain to watch bad content, right? So I'm
Will your wife come out and visit you?
James goes, yeah, she does occasionally. She'll come out and have a glass of wine and sit on the other side with her computer and do some work. That's nice.
Right, that's cool.
But I have with James, my 8-year-old, he calls it rotten potatoes. I go, what's the rotten potato rating? Because if it's not 90 or above, Dad's not sitting in the couch. And they don't care. We're hanging out all day long. I would rather go bike riding with them. Or yesterday we were in the backyard shooting BB guns.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had a CO2-powered BB gun and a target with metal ducts on it.
Nice.
The little one is not able to go to the older one's paintball birthday party, so this was a concession. My wife said, you can bring that gun to the house and shoot it in the backyard, but it's just once. What my friend who lent me the gun didn't tell me was CO2 BB guns. They have a report. They go... right in this neighborhood of old people that I live with. So there are old ladies and people walking their dogs up the street, and here are 2 kids on the ground with this gun. It's going, and it looks like a handgun. It looks like a Glock.
Oh, no.
It's going, and then the police helicopter's flying over. I'm like, guys, this is 20 minutes. We're gonna do this before the police show up.
We had a kid behind us who was doing that, shooting some BB thing off like the end of his pool into the trees.
Was it airsoft?
Which goes to my yard.
Yes.
And we're all hanging out there and we hear like, zoom, zoom. And we're like, I had to go over and like have a talk with him. Like, dude, we're back there.
This is hilarious.
You're gonna hit us.
Anybody that has BB guns already knows what we're talking about. But there's also airsoft. So in the years of my children growing up, it was like there aren't going to be any guns in this house, Spike. I'm like, I'm cool. That doesn't matter. I don't care. And then age 5, I see Erica with a GI helmet on, holding a gun, marching around hunting with the kids. These airsoft guns and these BB guns, because I was looking at it, I'm like, this looks like a real gun.
Yeah.
It looks like a real handgun. And this morning, I was like, do I want to get one of these? This was fun, hanging out with the kids and doing this yesterday. There were 7 pages of the most authentic-looking guns and assault rifle, BB guns, and automatic.
Holy cow.
And I just went, no wonder kids are getting killed by cops, because this looks like a legit AK-47. There's no orange on the tip, and the way the damn thing fires, it's another one of those little little areas nobody's paying attention to.
Right.
And what you're talking about, what your neighbor was doing, is exactly right.
Yeah.
That first day we had the gun angled a different way in my backyard.
Oh, no.
And I had it sitting on one of my teak cigar chairs, the target trap, right? And the first shot just hits the wood and flies right back at us and almost hits me right in the forehead. We all have eye protection on, but I could see it coming. I go, no! And James goes, Dad, I was almost killed by the BB gun, Mom. And I wasn't almost killed. And then it went off by mistake. It's a mess.
So
it's exactly how I remember guns. Messy and horrible. Right. And you will shoot your eye out.
Yeah, and why you put it down and walked away.
But there's no way to do that in your backyard. What happened to that kid? Did you tell him to stop?
What's that?
Your neighbor.
Yeah, I went and knocked on the door. I said, dude, what are you doing? And he was like probably 15. And he said, I'm just shooting my BB gun. Yeah. And I said, why are you doing that? Because I didn't know he was doing target practice. I thought he was shooting through the thing to my house. So it was a little more confrontational. Like, dude, what are you doing? Why are you shooting? I'm shooting this gun. Why? Why are you doing that? And he said, well, I was playing video games for a long time, and I got kind of tired of it. Now I'm going to do this. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, listen, you're going to blind my children, so set your target up somewhere else.
Yeah.
And you walk away.
But they ricochet. That's the
I know. He does.
They were doing direct right ricochets right at the house. These things have way too much velocity. When did these turn into real bullets and not the Daisy Red Rider? Just you
like
see
a
it
little
arc.
pop.
You had to kind of aim it up. It went and it would land in the cup. Hey,
I love the arc.
Yeah, no, it didn't work out that way.
I like the cigar. The way you do your cigar, though, that's pretty brilliant.
Jerry likes that too. I've invited him many times. He's going to come out and do that cigar.
That was a funny thing we did. Remember when we were at that hotel at Thanksgiving, and we both were there. We ran into each other, and we sent a picture to Jerry. We went and bought cigars.
Oh yeah,
and just had them hanging out of our mouth and sent a picture to Jerry.
That's right.
Did you go back? Do you do that every year?
We used to.
Yeah.
I don't think we've done it lately. We were in a different part of town. We were in Hawaii this year.
I remember you realizing, though, that you were like...
Of parents, you know how the parents kind of gel together and then the different schools and then you were different parents?
Yeah.
We've lost touch with that group that used to do that.
Yeah.
But
you were like...
fine.
You had like the gleam in your eye because you were like... This was pretty great. Like, we spent Thanksgiving in a hotel.
Oh, yeah.
And... I feel good about this.
I haven't let that go.
Yeah.
No, I just did it this past year, and it was fantastic. Yeah,
Your kids were little then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't have to go home, which was good.
It was such a nice... Yeah, it's a nice thing. We do it every year. We'll have Thanksgiving in the house, but then the next morning we go off to the hotel for 2 days.
But see, now you can't bet. It happened to be a good Thanksgiving warmth-wise, right? But when it's cold, then you're like, what am I thinking? What am I doing? I'm freezing. This is horrible. And that hotel in particular has doubled and tripled and quadrupled their rates.
It's so expensive.
By
the time you get out of there, it's big money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's going on down there?
I don't know.
Who pays $2,000 or $3,000 for a hotel room at this point?
I know. You know who? I think Justin Bieber lived in like the penthouse.
I guess it's not that good. It's not that good, right?
No, but the mistake I made, it's become tradition. Like all our families on the East Coast, so this is our tradition, and it's just like, ooh.
Well,
but you know what's cool
for 2 days?
Wow. You know what's kind of cool, which I've realized. Kids like when we travel. Mm-hmm. They love just being in one room with us with 2 beds.
They don't care.
They don't. I used to think we need space and we need to like have sex, so we'll have a suite and be in another room.
I like that.
No, we're not having sex.
Right
They're
now.
not separated. We're all in there together, watching a movie, hanging out. It's fun and cheaper, and it's more memorable.
You want to know how the suite worked out for me? Last time in Hawaii, because I said I've got to get it because for exactly those reasons.
Yeah,
this is the other way I would add to that list. I get to sleep.
Yeah,
because Eric would go, I'm gonna spend the night in the living room with the boys. They're having fun. It's gonna be fun. So she slept in there. She did that 2 nights in a row. I felt like I was 16 again because I had so much rest for once. So much rest.
Isn't that amazing?
It was incredible.
You never get that kind of rest.
And I would wake up in the morning and I'd go snorkeling at 8 in the morning with Jack. And I was like, this is incredible. I was really, Hawaii actually worked for me.
Yeah.
In a way that I didn't understand it would work. I always thought, just another crappy place.
It's the sleep.
But the sleep. Yeah, no, and the relaxation.
you're good at this stuff, so let me ask if you can pull this off. My wife was sick. She had something wrong, like a cold or a stomach flu or something. So for 2 days in our own home,
Yes.
the only 2 days since we've been in that home, she slept in the guest room, and I slept in my own bed.
Yes.
And the same thing. I felt like alive. I couldn't believe how rested I was.
You're sick. You're quarantined.
Right. And the problem is 2 people in their, at 50 years old, the chances of both of you having a good solid night's sleep is very rare. One of you is going to toss and one of you is going to pay because the other one's tossing.
Yes.
Is it possible? Could you pull off 2 separate bedrooms a couple times a night, a couple times a week?
Oh, absolutely.
You think so?
Yeah, but it becomes in the last house we were in, we had a lot of bedrooms, so I just moved into one at one point.
Like moved in?
I moved in. I was like, this is my room, and I'm staying there.
And she let you do it?
And she was like, good. This is my room, and I'm staying there.
Really?
Yeah, but it was kind of lonely and then I was like, I don't like this. I want to move back. And
not all the time.
And I moved back in. She didn't want me to come back. She likes to sleep too. She's like, why? Don't take it personally. I'm like, you come in, you visit. And I'm like,
so she's up with it. She's into it.
Oh, totally.
My wife's like, no, we sleep together no matter what.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's weird because we're exhausted.
Yeah, you are exhausted. Right.
Because one of you is going through something. One of you ate something weird.
Tom, you just go do it.
Just get up and walk out.
Yeah, you just go to bed in the other room. You don't ask permission. I just do what I want to do I just go, I'm sleeping in there. She's like, great. Don't ask. Now you're negotiating.
Yeah.
That's your mistake.
All right.
That's your mistake.
I've learned 2
but
things from you.
Isn't it? Are you like me where you everything, like I consider now everything I eat before I go to bed?
Yeah.
I consider the heat and vent situation. I make sure certain doors are closed in dining rooms and bathrooms because there's a little more heat in the bathroom coming in. The comforter, the thickness of the comforter, the mattress pad.
Yep. Yeah.
If it's a foamy one, we got to put something on top of it because that gets too hot. And then this all is a fluid situation depending on outside temperature. Dog, kid wake up time, and
it's precise.
It's precise, and anything can throw it off.
I know,
right?
Totally.
Anything can throw it off.
But what I really have not been able to crack, and we work hard at it, is you go to a really nice hotel, you're like, this bed, I have never slept in something, so this is the bed. Oh my God,
right?
And at home, it's like it's never as good.
No,
as the Four Seasons.
I always have trouble the first night in a new bed in a hotel.
You do,
but I'll tell you what something that always gives me a little advantage. This is a good little tip. Is the noisemaker, the white noisemaker that we had for our babies.
Yep,
we got addicted to them when we had the kids. And now they make a little tiny one with a USB charger, and you just turn it on, and wherever you are, it knocks you out and puts you to sleep. I don't even understand why people complain about street noise anymore when they have these things.
Yeah, I know. We just started using one.
They're the greatest.
They are the greatest.
Right.
When I'm on the road, I just put the heat on.
Oh, no.
Because the fan from those things is like a white noise thing.
But that will turn on and off, and then you have
that is a problem.
And then if you leave it on all the time, you've got dry, hot copy paper face and eyes, and it's everything dries out, and then you go into your gig like that, right?
Yes, it's true. Puffy eye,
right? Puffy-eyed and a mess.
Trying to puff all day.
Yeah, that's tough. What do you have a couple of Jerry's cars though, don't you?
I have one Jerry car.
We all have one Jerry car. What is your Jerry car?
I have a 1967 Volkswagen.
Ah, I have a Volkswagen too.
Yeah.
Which Volkswagen?
Remember when you came to my house and after I'd gotten hit in it?
Right, I think.
Whenever I get in the car, I think of you because I was going through a light and from a stop, turned, car in front of me even, go through, and an old man coming from the other angle went around the parked traffic at the light into the intersection and tagged me on the driver's side, just up towards, just a little north of the door and towards the front.
Yeah.
And you said when you saw it, you came to my house and you saw it, and you said, if that guy had hit you just a second later, half a second later, he's going through the passenger door and you're dead.
What is it? Is it a Volkswagen Beetle?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And what color is that?
Blue.
Light blue?
Light blue. Kind of like sky blue.
Wow. I don't remember that car. What a great car. But
it's a great car.
I've been telling the fans about Jerry's Volkswagen thing for a long time. And this is it. This is proving that I'm not lying. That, oh, yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Wow, with chromey wheels.
Yeah, he put those like Hot Wheels on it.
This has a Porsche engine in it?
No.
It's got that?
The engine. Everything was original. Jerry was very disappointed when I got hit in it.
Well, did you get it fixed?
I did. It's great. It's totally mint. It's it's
oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's all good. The one thing I can't find
what's that?
Is the thing on the stick shift.
With the knob?
With that, yeah. I can't find the original. The stick came off in my hand. The impact snapped.
Oh, God.
I was still holding it.
Holy shit!
Yeah, it snapped. I snapped the whole
That is not hard to find.
I
a
can't
shift
find...
knob from a 67?
Yeah.
Volkswagen Beetle.
Volkswagen Beetle.
Message Tom Papa, you guys. You're going to be able to find that in 2 seconds. That's an
At
eBay
Tom
find.
Papa. Yeah.
Or there must be a repro for it, too.
It's the one with like the little like lion on it.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
I've
got like this new, like just thick one on it. It's so upsetting.
Well, how hard if you looked for this?
Not that hard. A couple times on the internet.
Is it this right here? The gray or the white?
No. It has like that. You know how Volkswagen has that weird lion insignia on it?
This guy. That's the insignia?
Yeah, it's that, but just all black. It doesn't have that thing underneath it. It's like a disc with that thing on it.
Right, but it's that big?
No, it's like it's flat. It's like a
all right.
silver
well, we
dollar.
should be able to find this. This is not hard.
I would love to.
Folks are going to start messaging you that they have one. I know 2 or 3 Volkswagen Beetle specialist friends of mine that will be able to track this down in 2 seconds.
Very nice. So, I would love that.
So look at that. I will help you get it. It's this guy right there, right?
No, it's not that thick. It's like if you were to slice that first eighth of an inch. It's like a disc.
It's like okay.
Yeah.
We can get this for you, Tom Papa.
I would love it. Yeah, so I have that car from Jerry.
You have it because this is what Jerry does. Jerry goes on a Porsche tear. He buys a lot of Porsches, right? And then he burns out on it. Yeah. And then he goes, "This Volkswagen, Spike." And he'll call me with the cars, and he'll say, "You know what? Definitely buy it because me or one of your friends is going to end up with it for like no amount of money. Right. You're either going to give it to us because you're going to hate it in 2 weeks, or you're going to sell it to us for nothing." I have a Volkswagen German police car.
Oh, you have it?
Nice. Yeah,
you have that one?
I have that one.
Oh,
that he charged me next to nothing for. He's like, "I gotta get it out of here. Give me $5,000." I'm like, "All right, I think it's worth $100, but I'll take it."
Wow, no way. And, that's a great car with the light on it.
Yeah. Oh, my
man.
kids love it. We love that car. But so many, Jerry's such a generous guy with these cars.
Yeah.
But he's kind of full up on them. He gave Bob Einstein the Acura NSX. Yeah. Barry Martyr has a Mercedes diesel. He passes out these cars like Elvis Presley. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's so great.
We're all kind of full, though, now.
I know. I don't know where I would put another
one. We've got the car. Even Zuckerman has 1 or 2 of them at this point. So I always tell him not to buy it anymore. Just don't get it. Or drive the car first and sending them back. But
what is your feeling on putting in my 67 Volkswagen, putting in proper seatbelts?
Yeah, why not?
Just because I have those those bad lap belts, the original lap belts.
Yeah, no,
there's not an original car snob thing that.
Not with that car. I don't know. Seatbelts are tough because you're talking about your safety and most likely your family's safety.
Yeah.
So I wrestled with this idea with my '58 Speedster that had original set of belts in it, and. Sam, who finds cars for Jerry, was just like, this is, you don't want to fly out of this thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you keep the original belts.
Right.
And then you have the belts that'll keep you alive. Because the reality is you get hit in that car, you're going to get hurt. Right.
Yeah. No.
Right. This guy who's usually
lucky.
sitting there, Zuckerman, has been hit twice in 356s, and once they had to pry him out of it with the jaws of life.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and I think they did
Leno.
something to his head because he's something wrong with him now. He's just not. He's never been right since.
I do feel like when I'm out in that car, in those types of cars, that it's closer to being on a motorcycle than it is to being in a modern car.
Yeah, it's like driving around in a Diet Coke can.
Yeah, it's like you should have a helmet. You should wear a helmet
You should,
in a Volkswagen
and that's
Beetle.
not going to help you either. Nothing's going to help you except
Yeah.
driving really offensively and as far as anticipating where you're going to die, watching out at the intersections, and limiting your driving, period.
Right, don't do it that often.
Yeah,
I know.
and that's how you kind of enjoy it. But yeah, you can get hurt.
My first Tonight Show with Leno, I do the set, and then I sit down with Jay. We're going to talk after the break.
Mm-hmm.
And I have it locked and loaded. This is my first time meeting Jay, and I have it locked and loaded that I've got Jerry's Volkswagen. And I've got a conversation started.
Yeah.
So we're in the break. They're playing the music and everything. They're in the middle of a commercial, and I lean over to Jay and said, "Yeah, how Jerry? You seen Jerry? Yeah, I've got it. I've got his 1967 Volkswagen." He said, "Oh yeah, you don't want to get hit in that thing." He goes, "It's the gas tank's right." The gas tank's right in your lap. You'll just burst into flames immediately. Welcome back.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's every car guy trying to relate to the car guy.
Yeah, and I told Jerry that story. He goes, "That's so Leno. That's such a
Yeah,
Leno thing."
I have a similar story where I was telling him about taking my kids to school in this race car I owned.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, I don't mess with kids in cars like that. They'll get killed." And then when I was like, "Well, geez, Jay, I was just saying." I took my kid to school in a race car.
He likes to mess with you a little bit.
It was so funny.
One time I was going over
fast.
Coldwater. Then I became kind of friendly with him, and he let me go. Brought my father to see his cars and all this great stuff.
Wow.
And but I was going up Coldwater, just commuting and going over the
and
canyon.
I always see him there.
Chasing down a hubcap that fell off.
Oh, really? Running?
Everyone running down the middle of traffic in his Jay Leno denim. Was that Jay? And then you see him walk back with a hubcap in his hand.
Oh, yes. Do not let that go. Yeah, you're trying to stop it from getting run over.
Yeah.
He did. I remember driving through the flats of Beverly Hills in my 66 right above Coldwater, and he just pulled up in this, I don't even remember what it was. The window
steamer.
came down. It was Jay Leno, and he goes, 1966 Triumph Bonneville. And I go, correct. And he goes, window goes up, and he just goes. I go, Jay, it's Spike. I used to write for you.
Yeah.
Just takes, he's already gone. Have you ever thought about wearing the all denim outfit?
Yeah.
I can never match.
Yeah.
I've tried it. It feels awkward to put denim on top of denim.
It does, but you know what? They make so many kinds of denim now. Like I did, I do this show on the Food Network called Baked, which is all about baked goods, and I ended up in a Leno one day.
Really?
Like the denim shirt. It felt very bakery.
Did they give you that wardrobe?
No, I
or
bought
you
it. They
picked
gave me
out?
money to go buy some clothes, and I bought it. And I realized as I was putting. I didn't even realize as I was putting it on, actually. When I showed up on set, they're like, "Hey, were you wearing the Leno?" And I was like, it felt good. It felt like, I'm in denim, and the jeans are like pretty dark.
Right.
They're not like, it wasn't
What
like
episode
matching.
is this?
It wasn't
if
like,
we want to see you in Baked.
I think it was the New York episode.
The New York episode of Baked. And this is your love of sourdough breads.
Yeah.
It's just sourdough.
Sourdough.
And it turned into a TV show.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah.
And it felt very like bakery. It felt like, I'm in denim. I'm just going to get a lot of flour
Was there
on
any
me.
denim toque that you would wear under your head?
No.
I just wanted to say toque.
Yeah, there may be a denim apron would be cool. There's a lot of like
you could do that. You could be the Leno of Cooking Guy.
It makes sense. And it makes sense why he does it with the cars, because it's any place where you're going to be around stuff that you're going to get stuff on you. Denim's what you want.
Why?
You'll rub anything on denim. If you're eating Cheetos,
It's
right
like a
on
napkin.
your jeans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, Tom, this has been fantastic.
This is really good.
This was really fun to have you on.
Really
it was
great.
nice bumping into you the other night.
Yeah, that was great.
Celebrating at our my agent and your neighbor and friend,
Yep.
Hans Schiff's birthday party.
The great Hans Schiff.
Turned 79. God bless
What
his
an
heart.
old dude. Never hung out with someone so old.
Very, very old. And this has been fun. What are you promoting? Before you go, where can we see the great Tom Papa? You got to catch him on tour. He's take it from Spike, one of the funniest comedians out there, Seinfeld-esque in his genius.
Go to tompapa.com.
Okay.
That has the book, that has the podcast, that has the tour. It's all there.
There you go. And are you on social media? I don't see you tweeting or doing anything.
I don't.
Like that.
I tweet dates. This is another thing, similar to the not looking at the time when you wake up in the middle of the night. I don't look at the Twitter feed anymore. I tweet out stuff for like promos for my dates and stuff.
Okay.
And I'll look at mentions when people hit me back. But I have not seen a Twitter feed in 2 years.
It's too upsetting to you?
Yeah, I don't like it. It is. It's too upsetting.
Yeah.
It is. I don't like the vitriol. I don't like it's a garbage part of town.
There's an ADHD aspect too. Your head's like politics and car, and your head jumps to a dozen different places in 5 seconds as you're scrolling up.
I'll do it on Instagram. I'll scroll a little on
That's
Instagram.
simpler, right?
But it's simpler and
Pictures and
and you kind of build it. I have a lot of bread accounts. Bread and
what is a bread? Looking at bread.
Another bakery, like Kate's Bread in Ojai, and she
great.
shows me what she's making today, and just like a picture of her holding up a pizza.
I like that. I like pizza accounts. I follow pizza accounts.
Yeah.
And you know what? Here's another good one to follow. Toy trains.
Ooh.
Toy train accounts are fantastic. Every once in a while, they'll show a corner of the diorama, and you go, "Oh, if I could just live there! I just want. They could just turn me into plastic, and I would live there right now."
I have a great train under my Christmas tree during the holidays, and it's grown. The village has grown, and
Really?
I've really gotten into it. I never even thought about following it on it.
Yeah,
it's such an old guy move. Like,
dude,
a kid
Instagram
would follow it
is
immediately.
full of train accounts.
Wow.
They're the greatest.
That's cool.
They're the greatest. You
I
would like
love
this.
going to the train shop in Burbank.
Yeah.
The train shack.
Yeah.
Just go in there. They've got that whole thing set up.
Yes.
I really.
What is it about these stupid trains that we like? I
don't
find it
know.
to be. I was looking at this photo this morning, going, I just want to be there. And why do I feel safe there? Why do I feel safe in this train corner? It had a little UPS truck in front of it and a little tiny Jeep in the driveway and a house. I go, oh, I feel safe.
It's the best.
I want to be there.
I really love it. I could, and you go and you buy the house and you add it to the town.
Do you know that maybe there is, and I know we have to go. I know, Will's flailing in there. No,
Okay.
But maybe instead of just getting buried or cremated, maybe there's a world in which we can be plasticized and
Into a little figurine.
and put into a train town. Wouldn't that be it?
That is amazing.
I'm going to leave you all with
That's
that
amazing.
thought right there.
God
That
bless
business.
us, everyone.
Someone wants to start it, I will promote it. We'll see you next on Spike, whatever we decide to call it next week, radio. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to Spike's Car Radio. Download new episodes every Wednesday on the Podcast One app or subscribe now at Apple Podcasts or PodcastOne.com.
Now on Podcast One.
Could this be a serial killer? You never think it could happen in a community like this.
Cold Case Files, Season 4.
The case would take several twists and turns.
I mean, you're kind of, in essence, looking for a needle in a haystack.
Based on the hit A&E television program.
Now it starts to fit.
The discovery will seal the fate of a serial killer.
So I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die.
She just screams and pleads for her life.
Get new episodes of Cold Case Files every Tuesday on Podcast One.
You love podcasts, the stories, the laughs, the unexpected turns. But when this episode ends, the silence starts. Not anymore. Audiobooks.com turns that silence into your next great adventure. With over 450,000 titles, from bestsellers to hidden gems, your love for listening just found its new best friend. And because you already know the joy of audio, we're giving you 3 free audiobooks to start your journey. Imagine your favorite podcast, now with unlimited episodes. That's audiobooks.com. Keep the story going. Sign up for your free trial at audiobooks.com/podcastfree today. Because for podcast lovers like you, the end of an episode is just the beginning. That's audiobooks.com/podcastfree.